Welcome to the most interesting part of this calculator, in my opinion. So I'm going to open DevTools over here. Uh, okay, where are you, DevTools? Here you go, more tools, developer tools. And I want to show you all the data and how I handle this data to make the calculator work. So let's just open the calculator here, and I will open this the React components here that I installed for my calculator. And I'm going to go to the calculator app, and there's a reducer state over here, and right now I'm using use reducer as a hook, just to simplify the data a little bit. For example, if I clear this, you're gonna see that all the data changes here. If I type a number, it's gonna go bottom display 32 and first operand 32. Okay, so I'll show you the code for that. Just make this a little bit bigger. There you go, right there. All right, so for that, I'm using a state hook called useReducer, which is a way to simplify useState, or it is a way to use useState in with more data. So data is actually more organized. So I'm importing it from React, and here I'm spreading this array. So I have actually the state property over here, which is where I can access to all of the data of the reducer, and I have a dispatch function, which is going to actually use methods, different methods. Actually, we're using functions to change the state and to change the data. So I call a use reducer with the main function, which is the calculator reducer and an initial state. This is the initial state of my calculator. It has an operand, the first operand. So at the beginning, it's just when we start the application, let's just go back over here to my calculator. It disappeared. Let's just go back over here. Calculator app. You can see that there's a reducer here, object, which the different properties. So we got first operand, which is this is actually the initial state that is showing over here. First operand nothing, operator nothing, second operand nothing, empty string. Bottom display is 0, which is right here. And how do I display this in my interface? So if I go to the screen, it says state bottom display. This is actually this part over here. So the state bottom display, let's check it, is right now it is a 0. It's a string of 0. That's why it is showing 0 right now. So let me just go back to the top and continue exploring all the data. Bottom display 0. That is just the initial state. So I had to write a reducer, which I actually put here in this folder, and later on I'm gonna have to make another folder for calculator because I'm gonna be making a lot of reducers. And here's the main function for reducer. Okay, so let's just go all the way to the top, and here's the main function, calculator reducer, which is taking a state and an action. These actions are going to be dispatched, and that's how the state changes. And I have different cases here for different dispatch actions here. That's why I have action type. So whenever I send a dispatch with the action input number, it is actually what the numbers do. Whenever you press or the user presses on a number, it's going to call input number. And I'm going to show that here on the component. You can see that all the numbers have an input number callback function. Input number, input number, input number, input number. Only the numbers, okay? Only the numbers have the callback function input numbers when they're clicked, when those buttons are clicked. And that input number function, which is right here, it receives the event argument, because I want the payload, which is a property of the dispatch function, the object of the dispatch function, is going to be the value of that action. I'm sorry, yeah, of that action actually. And the type is going to be whatever I want to call from the main reducer function, which is input number over here. When this type is input number, is gonna use this payload, which is the value that I actually put under payload. That's why, let me just go back over here. That's why I'm using eTarget inner text to pass that value to the payload property, which is going to be processed that's a little bit complicated, but I just want to explain the best I can. Okay, so that means that whenever somebody inputs the number, this payload value is going to go to the function and is going to change the state. So let me show you an example of that. So if I go back to the function, I can see that if I send the input number type of action, which is right here in the numbers, through the input number callback, it's gonna test some conditions, and based on those conditions, it's gonna return a new state, which is all of this state over here. So let's just look at an example. If state first operand is 0, which is the case right here, and there's no state operator because I haven't actually input any operator, then you can see it in the option in the properties here that it's got an empty string. If this is the case, then the calculator, actually the bottom display property, which is right here, is going to take the value that I pass, which is the inner text of these buttons. So if I click on 9, and that bottom display is going to become a 9, and the first operand is going to be the 9. Okay, but if I press another number, it's not going to evaluate this to true. It's going to, because it's not, the first operand is not 0 anymore, it is 9. Okay, it's going to take this one. If the first operand length is less than 10 characters and the state operator is an empty string, that means that the new first operand, and actually I'm not mutating anything here, I'm copying the old state, which is a concept in functional programming. I'm not supposed to cause any side effects. Instead, I need to copy the old information so I avoid future problems. So I'm copying that old data, which is state first operand, and I'm adding to the string. So if this first operand length is less than 10 characters, is going to concatenate to the string. So for example, if I go 95, it's actually making the string longer. It's concatenating it. You see it over here, and I can see the new first operand and the new bottom display over here, and it's actually returning here. The first operand is the new first operand, and the bottom display is the same. When I'm actually not I don't have any operators set yet because I haven't pushed any of these buttons. Okay, I don't want this video to be any longer, so I'll continue on the next one.